Are we alone in this universe? Maybe, but maybe not. It all depends on your personal cosmological belief. We may not be alone in this universe, but what does it really mean? It all depends on each person's interpretation of this statement. We are not alone could mean different things to different people. It's all about terminology and each person's cosmological belief. Some folks who are skeptical about the existence of physical space aliens may still believe that God, angels, and demons exist in this universe, physically or otherwise. So in that sense, they could also say that we are not alone. Now I am in this category since I'm a firm believer in the existence of a supreme being, God the Creator. I also concur with the vast majority of the world's scientists and astronomers who seem to accept the possibility that since there are billions and billions of planets circling the billions and billions of sun-like stars within the billions and billions of galaxies in this undescribably huge universe, there has to be intelligent life somewhere there, and that we are probably not alone, even though we still do not know for sure. But when it comes to UFOs, the same vast majority seem to be skeptical that we have ever been or are being visited physically. I also agree with them again. To me, it takes more than a tremendous leap of faith to conclude that UFOs represent such physical visitations to our Earth. So far, there's not a single physical, tangible, solid, as well as credible documentary evidence whatsoever that we have ever been visited by physical extraterrestrial or biological entities in any physical extraterrestrial spacecraft of any kind. Yet, the UFO phenomenon seems to be real. Now let's talk about the UFO phenomenon itself in general. As I stated earlier, the UFO phenomenon seems to be real. There's no question about it. By the way, the phenomenon itself is not new. It has existed since time immemorial. There are historical records of people seeing strange objects in the skies throughout history, such as flying shields. The depiction of the objects seen seems to correspond to the cultural as well as technological understanding of the people of each era. In modern times, the objects seen seem to be more aerodynamic in form. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, people reported seeing strange objects that appeared to be huge, rather crude-looking airships. Later on, actual airships and other dirigibles were built by the United States. In the early 1980s, when the United States was testing prototypes of stealth aircraft, there were many reports of humongous flying triangular craft over the East Coast, which had nothing to do with the prototypes being tested by the United States Air Force. Reported humongous triangular craft, sometimes reported to be 3 or 4 times the size of a football field, hovered absolutely silently in the night skies. No, they did not belong to the United States Air Force. Now to me, here's the bottom line, and it may sound stranger and stranger. The phenomenon appears to me as a temporary paraphysical intrusion into our physical dimension by an unknown intelligence or unknown sentient entities, paraphysically materializing themselves to a pre-selected observer or a group of observers and presenting to the observer as a physical phenomenon. This pre-selection also seems to include a particular location as well as a particular time. The phenomenon seems to be able to materialize and dematerialize at will. Great researchers such as Dr. Jacques Vallée, John A. Keel, and Dr. J. Allen Hynek all seem to be in agreement here. However, the phenomenon does not seem to be able to survive in our physical dimension except for a few seconds or a few minutes at a time. Now, according to these researchers, the phenomenon seems to be able to temporarily affect our physical parameters, such as radar and so on. Yet the phenomenon also seems to be incapable of being photographed with clarity, if at all. Now, here comes my personal belief. No matter how strange this may sound, it is simply my personal belief. It is my belief that in this incredibly vast universe, or better yet, multiverse, there exist what I describe as paraphysical sentient entities, both benevolent and malevolent types, with a ratio of 2:1. That is, 2 out of every 3 entities are of benevolent nature. Now, eons ago, 1/3 of all cosmic, sentient, paraphysical, angelic entities were thrown out of their special domain by the Creator for participating in a cosmic shaking revolt led by Lucifer, who became Satan, and his followers, fallen angels, as suggested in Revelation 12:4. Many biblical scholars seem to support this interpretation. They have coexisted with us since time immemorial. It seems that the benevolent types are seldom seen in their temporary materialized form, but it is my personal belief that they are doing good works without being visible, often giving us protection from perilous situations. The malevolent or deceptive entities are the ones that are paraphysically materializing themselves and presenting themselves as physical alien entities from advanced extraterrestrial civilizations originating from outer space and piloting or maneuvering their extraterrestrial spacecraft. No, I doubt very much that they are extraterrestrial visitors from outer space, but rather a newly disguised version of extra-dimensional tricksters of old. This is Norio Hayakawa from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, USA.